We care about the small people. He is frustrated because he cares about the small people, and we care about the small people.
The Juarez cartel Ramirez informed on is losing the drug war. U.S. intelligence says the Sinaloa cartel has taken over most of the coveted trafficking routes through Juarez. At the head of that cartel, the notorious El Chapo. News Channel 9's Kai Porter has the story.
Joaquin Guzman is one of the most elusive men in Mexico, known to most as El Chapo or Shorty.
It doesn't matter who you are, whose grandmother you are, or whose child you are. If you get in his way, he'll take you out.
The FBI confirms the majority of drug loads arriving from Juarez now belong to El Chapo, Mexico's most wanted fugitive.
I think you could say he's the contemporary Al Capone of Mexico, but really in the world he's probably the single most powerful and most effective drug trafficker.
He's also the world's richest outlaw. Forbes magazine put Guzman on its annual billionaires list, which angered Mexican President Felipe Calderón, who said it glorified criminality.
Guzman's cartel also has a big impact here on the U.S. side of the border. Drug agents say Sinaloa traffickers smuggle in more than 100 tons of marijuana every single year, along with methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin, and they operate in cities around the United States.
Guzman is infamous for using tunnels to smuggle drugs into the U.S., and the Justice Department is offering a $5 million reward for his capture.
No question how brutal he is, how violent he is. He's also smart.
And very hard to catch. Kai Porter.
A first in the violence in Juarez. Grenades used to attack police there. A warning, the video gets graphic. At about 7:30 tonight, not too far from our border, El 16 de Septiembre Avenue, 2 hand grenades were used in the attack. 2 police agents were killed, 1 federal, the other a municipal police agent. 11 others were hurt. Some could be seen lying hurt in the streets.
We have stunning news from the embattled Texas-Mexico border. Heavily armed drug cartels are now adopting a deadly tactic mastered by Middle Eastern terrorists. A sophisticated car bomb exploded on the streets of Juarez within walking distance of the Texas border. 11 News reporter Angela Kacherga has the latest and the video that captured that deadly blast.
Just after federal police arrived at an apparent crime scene, a car bomb exploded in downtown Juarez. And then the gas tank blew up. That moment was captured by a Juarez television photographer who was among several people injured in the blast. The bomb killed 2 federal police officers and a bystander who ran out of his office to help. This accountant heard the explosion in his office 2 blocks away. Investigators found evidence suggesting the bomb was detonated with a cell phone. Federal officers were lured to the scene by a dead body dressed in a city police uniform. The unidentified man was not an officer. The Juarez cartel claimed responsibility for the car bomb in a hand-painted message on a wall in this border city. And the organization warned authorities it has more car bombs. The warning was directed at authorities who, quote, support Chapo, the head of the Sinaloa cartel, the rival group vying for control of this border city. The bombing is an escalation in Mexico's deadly drug war, but the mayor of Juarez tried to downplay the danger for residents or visitors.
Yeah, we don't have any information that leads us to believe that any attacks are going to be made on the population itself.
But both the people and police in Juarez are bracing for the possibility of more car bombs. Angela Kocherga, 11 News.
Right now, the U.S. State Department is issuing a travel warning to Americans. Stay out of 3 Mexican border cities at all costs. Juarez, Nogales, and Nuevo Laredo are on the list because of ongoing drug gang violence. Drivers in Mexico need to be concerned. A video posted on YouTube shows men carjacking people. These drug gangs use the cars to block streets and hide from cops. And in one of those border cities, Nuevo Laredo, authorities are putting U.S. citizens on lockdown, warning them to stay indoors after deadly gun battles erupted between the Mexican military and heavily armed men from a drug cartel. The fighting so intense, people right across the border in Laredo, Texas, could hear the gunfire. Raul Salinas is the mayor of Laredo. Mr. Mayor, were you able to hear the shots?
I did not, but I got a lot of reports. I received a lot of reports about the gunfire. Has been going on for about a week, on and off. It's pretty calm today, but in the last few days, we've had more than a dozen people that have been killed. And of course, we have concern, but the city of Laredo is very safe, and we are taking the appropriate action to ensure that we don't have a spillover. Our police department is doing a phenomenal job, working very closely with our county, state, and federal partners. We're working very hard, and at this time, we're asking Washington to send us the funding so we can supplement our police department with more personnel, more equipment, and more resources to ensure that a violent spillover doesn't cross into the United States, into Laredo, Texas.
Yeah, and I do want to stress that this is taking place on the Mexican side of the border. But what exactly is going on? This is two drug gangs battling over turf?
Yes, that's correct. You're talking about the Zetas and the golf cartels battling each other for turf, gaining the turf in that area. And you have the Zetas and the golf cartel engage in gunfire with the military as well. But that is all contained on the Mexican side. We are, every day we're evaluating, reviewing the intel, working very closely with the American consulate in Nuevo Laredo. The important thing is that it's time that we get more boots on the ground.
Yeah.
We've asked the Justice Department to get us more people, but Laredo, Texas continues to be a safe city. But obviously, our departments are all on alert, working very closely, and that's the most important thing, to be engaged, to have communication, and working together with our partners in law enforcement.
Raul Salinas is the mayor of Laredo, Texas, and we certainly hope that the folks in Washington are listening to what you're asking for there, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
cops have plans. You know, they're schemers. Schemers trying to control their little worlds. I'm not a schemer.
I am telling you as an American, it's time for you to get armed. I don't really care what your background is. I don't care if you're right or left, black or white. It doesn't matter to me. Only an armed nation will survive what's coming in this country. There was a time in Germany before Hitler when the Germans were allowed to have weapons. But then Hitler came along, and one of his first laws was the seizure of all weapons from the German people, precisely to prevent an uprising against his breed of government. Fidel Castro, the good friend of Sean Penn, did the same thing in Cuba. One of the first laws that the Castro criminals enacted in Cuba was to seize the weapons of the Cuban people so there could be no uprising against these illegitimate communist ghouls.
Trust. Do you trust the government?